agree? Let me know. Looking in the chat room. What do you think, Easy Kill? They're my top 3 players in fantasy. Trout, Yelich, Bellinger. Pick your order. I think those are your 3. The thing about this National League Central is, which is a great division. Okay, I don't have a dog in that fight, so to speak. But it's a great division, and the Cubs are tied with the Brewers, and then come the Cardinals. And the Cardinals are only 2.5 games behind those division leaders. And this weekend, St. Louis. Last weekend, the Cubs went to St. Louis. This weekend, the Cardinals go to the friendly confines of Wrigley Field. They have a 2:20 start this afternoon. And, Paul DeJong, are you a Paul DeJong fan? Are you a Paul DeJong owner? He's been struggling lately, but not yesterday.
DeJong gets it out to deep left. It's at the wall. Oh, did he need that? And so did the Cardinals. They're back on top. 2-run homer from the Cardinals shortstop, Paul DeJong, and it's 3-1 St. Louis. You can strike at any time, and we've seen that as well with Paul DeJong.
Yes, he can. Paul DeJong gets a changeup. He gets it up in the zone, and he does not miss this one. Home run number 9 for the year for him. And you are lying. I'm sure that one felt good for him. Feels great for the team.
DeJong. And the players I'm playing audio clips on this morning, there's a method to my madness. I want these names to stick. Okay? So the players that I'm talking about this morning that you may want to look at in fantasy, buy low, sell high, whatever you want to call it. DeJong had been scuffling. Okay? And then on the 2nd of June, he went 1 for 3. Broke a 0 for 20 kind of slump. On the 4th, against the Reds, he went 1 for 4. And then yesterday, 1 for 4, but that big home run. The Cardinals win 3-1. So Paul DeJong, he's been dropped in some leagues. I think he's a pick-up kind of guy. So the 4 guys I'm talking about this morning, to give a good look at, consider long-term value for the rest of the season: Hunter Renfroe, Mike Moustakas, Max Kepler, and of course the aforementioned Paul DeJong. Yeah, love it. So, and Pirate fans, if you're out there, you're only 4 games out of first, even though you have a negative 67 run differential. And the Pirates are at Miller Park in Milwaukee this weekend. So, your top 4 teams are playing each other within the division this weekend. So, you got to love being a Central fan. Chappie, are you out there? I know that's you. Okay? There are others. But that's going to be some great games this weekend with the Cardinals at Chicago and with the Pirates at Milwaukee. The Reds, still just 6 games out. They play the Phillies in Philadelphia this weekend. Speaking of the Phillies are in first place in the National League East. The Braves are in second, 2 games out. And as we look at box scores from yesterday within the National League East, the Pirates beat the Braves 6-1. For Pittsburgh, Josh Bell, 3 for 4, 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs. Now, the great thing about this network, Fantasy Sports Baseball Network, is we have so many hosts, podcasters who do a fantastic job, who try to bring to the listeners different perspectives, right? What we're trying to do here is give you some players to think about. I don't want to overload you. I just want to make sure that when we talk about players, you give it some good thought. You think about the context of your teams. You think about what improvements you can make. And there's been some discussion about, is it a good time to trade Josh Bell? Okay? And I'm going to be one of those who says no. I think Josh Bell, you hold on to Josh Bell. Okay? And I've got some logic behind that. First of all, He's barreling the ball at a better rate than he ever has in his career. Okay, he's hitting fourth in that lineup. And you've got guys in front of him. Newman's hitting 294. The rookie Reynolds, who went 2 for 4 yesterday, hitting 346. Starling Marte hitting 279. Okay, you got guys in front of him. He's going to get RBI chances. He's going to knock in some runs. Pirates are going to score some runs. And so I'm one of these. I'm holding on to Josh Bell. If I trade him, you better bet your bippy it's going to be for a really good player. Okay? I'm not looking to trade Josh Bell, switch hitter, first baseman. Also in that game, Gregory Polanco. You know, he is so frustrating to me. He went 1 for 4 yesterday. He did hit his 6th home run of the year off Fulton-Wicks. But he frustrates me. And maybe the thing that frustrates me the most about Gregory Polanco is lack of playing time. I'm one of these fantasy owners. I love opportunity. Opportunity. I want a guy who's out there, if not 7 out of 7, 6 out of 7. With Polanco this year, you're getting like 4 out of 7. You never know when he's going to start or not play. He's up and down the order. Yesterday, he's batting 6th in that order. Frustrating, but a great talent. And even speaking of a great talent, how about Chris Archer? Let's hear it for him, because he's been the whipping guy for every fantasy player over the last few weeks. But yesterday, he goes to 3-5 on the season, 6 innings pitched, 1 run, 6 strikeouts against the Braves. And that's a pretty darn good lineup Atlanta offers. For Atlanta yesterday, McCann doubled. He went 2 for 3. Riley continues to hit. The life of Riley must be something else, hadn't it? He was 2 for 4 yesterday, but no home runs. And Freddie Freeman, a home run. Freddie Freeman hit his 16th home run yesterday. And who said something about Freddie Freeman couldn't hit home runs? Oh, come on. Have you looked at Freddie's numbers this year? They're MVP-esque type numbers. Yeah, they are. Let's take a look at Freddie Freeman, shall we? And let's look at those numbers on the year, okay? He's got a 307 average. He's already scored 45 runs, 16 homers, 38 RBIs in that Atlanta offense, where they've just signed Craig Kimbrell, a new infusion of excitement. If you're a Bravo fan, right? So there we go. I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of excitement this summer in Atlanta. I've already gone out to say it's their division to lose, I think. The pitching's so strong. We'll see. We talked about the Mets earlier. They're 5 games out. Won yesterday, 7-3. They play the Rockies this weekend, the Nationals. And here we go, point of debate. Are the Nationals a team to look out for? Now, they had won 9 of 11. They lost yesterday to San Diego, as I told you, 5-4. And in that game last night, Renfroe hits the big home run. Okay? But Washington, don't count them out yet. Okay? In that game, Robles went 1 for 4. Now, Robles has got to heat it up. He's only hitting 238. And I'd say that's a big disappointment, wouldn't you? A huge disappointment so far this year has been Victor Robles. I think a lot of people were saying he could be Rookie of the Year in the National League, but hitting 238 isn't going to get it done. And there's another guy now in Atlanta named Riley who might have something to say about that National League Rookie of the Year. Rendon, though, still hitting 324. He did go 0 for 3 yesterday. Howie Kendrick, a great player to pick up, 1 for 4, 2 RBIs. And how about Hunter Dozier? Now, he could be the wild card in all of this. Dozier went 2 for 4 yesterday. He doubled and he homered. And if you look at Hunter Dozier on the year, I'm not that impressed. But we all know Hunter Dozier's, or Brian Dozier, I'm saying Hunter Dozier, Brian Dozier's history has been to heat up in the second half. Well, right now he's hitting 229. 9 homers, 21 RBIs. Okay? But even at that pace, he's probably on a 25 to 30 home run pace. Now, if Brian Dozier heats it up, as he always has in his career, he could be a major upswing player for fantasy and for the Nationals in the second half. I've already said it. Look at the Nationals on July the 4th. Then you're going to be able to see if they're a seller or they're a player going forward. If they add or subtract. July the 4th is their date. Miami lost their first game of the 3-game set to Milwaukee at Miller Park yesterday. They lost 5-1, but they've still won 7 out of 10 as we go forward. So that's just a look at some of the games yesterday, some of the players to look out for. And the next segment I want to go into is to look at some rookies. Okay, let's break it up. I got some predictions for today and to talk about our games and players to watch out for. But I want to talk about some rookies and when I think you can look to add some guys. Looking at, we've already talked about these on the show. Bobby Bradley for Cleveland. He's an outfielder. He's been hitting well at AAA. Certainly a player you want to be on the lookout for. I think because Cleveland does need outfield bats, I think Bobby Bradley is close to a call. Write that name down. Keep your eye on him. I like you doing your own research. I just give you these names. I've done the research. I like Bobby Bradley in Cleveland, and I could see him getting called up. I also like Brendan McKay. I've talked about him. Outstanding pitcher. He's actually a two-way threat, but much more so as a pitcher this year for Tampa. He was at Double-A. He had a 1.30 ERA at Double-A. Called up to Durham Triple-A. He's thrown 2 games, stellar in both. And here's what they're doing with him. He only threw 62 pitches in one game and 59 pitches in the other. 6 innings in both games. What's Tampa doing? They're keeping this young kid stretched out at the minor leagues, but they're not having him shoot all his bullets. Okay? He's going to get the call. Now, it's going to be probably in July. But when Brendan McKay comes up for Tampa, he is a difference maker. You add him to Glasnow, you add him to Charlie Morton, you add him to Blake Snell. You got 4 ace-type pitchers. That's the kind of pitcher he is. Keep your eye on Brendan McKay. Remember that name. Other guys we've talked about ad nauseum. There's Jordan Alvarez, of course. And I think it's just a matter of time before he's called up. Now, he's just 7 for his last 39, but he's walked more than he struck out in those games. He's been intentionally walked. He is a man-child. Zach Gallen for the Marlins. He's probably going to get called up this month. His last start, 7 innings pitched, 11 strikeouts. Okay? Zach Gallen. So there are a couple of hitters that you need to keep your eye on. Some more. Luis Urias for the Padres. What more can he do at AAA? Second baseman who's on a 15 for 35. That's a 429 stretch, during which he's only struck out 6 times and has walked 8. His OPS is up to 1.203, and his roadblock is a guy by the name of Ian Kinsler, who just hasn't been doing very much, hitting, 190? So, with Tatis back up, leading off last night, my question is, San Diego, how long before you call Urias up to join him and form that double play combination that could go into, years to come? Luis Urias, Padres second baseman. Keep your eye on him. Talked about Kyle Tucker already, so we won't redig that hole, so to speak. But how about Dylan Cease? Okay. Last pitched on May 29th. Really good. Okay. The White Sox have said he'll probably be called up around the All-Star game. That's really good. When you put Cease in the major leagues, he has great control. I've seen him pitch. Keep your eye on Dylan Cease. And how about Willie Castro? Here's a new name for you. Willie Castro. I'm not going to overload you with rookies. Here's my last one for today. Okay, we'll move on to something else. But let me make sure I put this plug in for Willie Castro. He's a shortstop. Do the Tigers need a shortstop? Do the Tigers need a shortstop? Are you kidding me? Of course they do. All right. He's not the most heralded of prospects. In fact, you may not have ever heard of him before hearing of him this morning. But now remember, I told you guys if you